Welcome to The Dying Breed. I'm Caleb, and today we're shoeing the hinds on this draft horse. This is the third video in a three-part video series. In the last two videos, we shod the front feet, and in this video, we'll shoe both of the hind feet. In the previous two videos, I showed the process for making plane stamps to fit this horse. In this video, we're not going to show that process, but it's roughly the same as what we did for the front feet. So if you want to see that process, just go watch one of the other two videos. So the feet are really hard. This was earlier this summer, and we're using a set of half rounds here. So they differ from my regular nippers in the sense that they have a half round blade instead of a flat blade. And we use them to help get rid of excess sole. They give us a little bit more leverage than, say, a knife, allow us to get some of that sole out of the bottom of the foot. They're a really handy tool. I don't use them a lot, but when I need them, they're really nice. We're not going to take a ton off the bottom of this horse's foot. There's just not a lot of depth. And I've talked about this in previous videos. Depth is what we take from the bottom, length is what we take from the top. So you can kind of look at this foot and you can see where the hoof wall is wider than other places, other parts of the hoof wall. So what we're trying to do is get a uniform or asymmetrical foot. Feet are not symmetrical, they're asymmetrical. This is because the coffin bone is asymmetrical. The feet are just so hard this time of year, and it makes it almost impossible to run a knife. I have to run my knife two-handed here just to get that frog trimmed up a little bit. It's really important to get those commissures cleaned out. The commissure is the portion between the frog and the sole. That little crevice is called the commissure. Reason we need to clean that frog up is dirt and debris and bacteria will get trapped underneath that frog and create a perfect breeding ground for thrush, which is an anaerobic bacteria, meaning it thrives in environments where oxygen is not prevalent. I'm gonna rasp the foot, get it nice and flat. This is the first time I've seen this draft horse, so I had never done this horse before. He was a little overdue. It does not take long for a draft horse to be overdue and look pretty bad. The sheer weight of the horse will cause that foot to distort very quickly. So right now I'm just gathering the hoof wall up. I'm trying to get that hoof wall the same thickness all the way around. Get that toe brought back a little bit. You can see my rasp, it's just, these feet are just hard. You can see there's a little dirt that's been caked into the hoof wall. We're just gonna get rid of some sole pressure. Really important to not have sole pressure. Sole pressure can be one of the #1 ways that a horse will show up lame. Straighten my bars just a little bit. Now we're gonna rasp from the top. This is where we take length. So that mark that we made from the bottom where we gathered the hoof wall up, got it the same thickness. Now we rasp to where we gathered that hoof wall. That way we ensure that we don't thin the hoof wall out too much, and we get rid of all of the distortion in the foot. You see we're getting that toe brought back. I'm using a Heller XL. It's a mustad rasp, and it's a green tang. They're my favorite rasps. I'll use the blue tang rasp once in a while, but I don't like its finish as much as I do the green tang. I also feel like the green tang stays sharper a little longer than just about any other rasp I've used. Okay, that'll do the back. So now you'll see I have a 2-inch mark. So I add 2 inches to the measurement, measure the width, and then I measure the length. So that was 17 3/4 inches of steel. Again, we're gonna start with our half rounds. You can see that I've kind of already trimmed this foot. I didn't get the camera turned on at the start, so you'll kind of get to see the tail end of the trim on this foot. And these feet are a little rough. You can see the places where they're chipped, where we got some cracks, some things. We'll get those all cleaned up. We'll gather them up, put a shoe on, and by the next shoeing, this foot's gonna look significantly better. So the measurement that we got on the first foot was 17 3/4, and we'll measure this one in just a little bit, and we'll see how close this foot comes to that measurement. The reason we add 2 inches to the overall measurement of the foot, that 2 inches is the extra steel we need to make the toe bend. So we need a little extra steel to come out and around the foot, and that's the 2 inches. That measurement can change a little bit as you become a better and more practiced blacksmith. You'll use your metal more efficiently, and you might not add as much. So you might add only 1.25 or 1.5 inches, depending on the foot. But that's something you kind of have to discover. The more feet you do, the better you become, and then your measurements start to change. So again, we're just gathering up that foot as much as we can, getting a nice shape into the foot, following that inner line, the inner line of the white line. So the inside line of the white line, because that is the least distorted line. The outside of the white line can sometimes distort a little bit and lie to you a little bit about where the foot is. In this video, the white line is kind of hard to see because it's really kind of that where all that dirt's kind of pushed in. You can see the hoof wall, and then there's kind of like a line that goes all the way around the foot, and it looks kind of black because of the dirt. Normally that line would be kind of a yellowish color. Again, gonna get rid of all that distortion. You can see where we ran our rasp around the outside of the foot. That's what I mean by mark. And we're gonna rasp to where we get rid of that flat spot we created by gathering the foot up from the bottom. This horse was a lot of work. Especially the first time I did him. I made the shoes for him as he was there because I didn't know his measurements. I didn't know anything about him, so I had to make him shoes on the fly, basically. And I am a really slow forger, and so this whole process, all 4 feet, trimmed, shoes built, and then nailed up, took about 4 hours. Which is way too long. I need to spend some more time in the forge and get to where I'm a little bit more precise with my forging, but sometimes it is what it is, and this was a big horse. Drafts take longer anyway. You can kind of see how I'm running my rasp around that edge. I'm just getting rid of that really sharp edge. Okay, so we're gonna add 2 inches. We come across, 10, we come up, and you can see right there, 17 3/4, right to the end of that heel. So both back feet measured the same. We actually added an inch to that steel, so we cut 18 3/4 inches, and we bumped an inch into the toe. Bumping is where we push material to the center and then flatten it out and make it a little wider. You can see that. You can see the toes just a little wider than the rest of the shoe. We're getting that shoe burn on. Basically what we're trying to do is make sure all the clips are fit and burn into the side of the hoof wall so they're not sticking out or proud. Making sure our shape is there. And now we're gonna nail up. Clean that up just a little bit more. You can see we got rid of sole pressure there. What I'm doing here is when you burn the foot and then you set it down, it creates a little burr. And it'll kind of like, when you run your hand down the outside of the hoof wall, it'll have like just a little burr that you can feel. And you just get rid of that with your rasp. So on this particular day, I'm driving hybrid E5s, and they're really actually not long enough. The other thing you'll notice, I didn't drive that nail all the way in. So with plain stamps, if you drive them all the way in, I can't actually pull that nail out. I can't get a hold of it now. So it's driven all the way in. So if I want to switch something, I don't drive them all the way in. If I'm gonna, like, I'm thinking about that nail in the toe there on the medial side, and so I left it just a little bit proud. In the next video, we use E9s. These are E5s. I had to order some different nails that were bigger. This horse takes, everything about the shoe job on this horse is bigger. In the next video, when we shod this horse again, we actually, so you can see I pulled that nail out and redrove it. But in the next video, you'll see that we used bigger stock, bigger nails, and I had to order all of that stuff. I only had 1 by 3/8, which was just a little bit small for this horse. So I'm just rasping a little bit under the nails, just trying to get you can see where that chip is, and that's okay. We're just going to leave that like that, and by next time it will have grown out. It's actually amazing how well these feet cleaned up. I mean, they looked pretty rough at the start of the video, and they cleaned up super nice. So little nitpicky things that farriers notice. If you look at my lateral toe right there, it's just a little bit bold. It's not, doesn't look like I fit it quite as good as I could. Right there, you'll see there's a little bit more shoe right there in that lateral toe, and that's something I could have done better with this set of shoes. I could have I could have just brought that in just a skosh, would have made that clip fit a little better, would have made everything do just a little bit sweeter on this shoe. That's one of the things that's great about doing these videos and watching them is I get to look and see what I could have done better. That's not harmful to the horse, like that being just a little bold like that isn't going to harm the horse, but it's definitely something the next time I do the horse, like we're going to look at and make sure that we don't do again, right? So in the last couple of videos, I've actually had some people comment on the shape of the draft feet. And they've asked whether, you know, is it due to neglect, the horse not being done in a while? Do all drafts have this shape? Why do they have this shape? And the answer is, to the first question is yes. Drafts have a very triangular shaped foot with very, very defined quarters. Heel quarter, toe quarters are very, very defined, very straight. That's due mostly because of their weight, but it's a very drafty thing. It's pretty unique to draft horses themselves. Most draft horses have this shape. They have 4 feet that look basically like a hind shape. If you watch the previous 2 videos on this horse, you'll notice that the front feet are very hind shaped as well. They kind of have that triangular shape. They're a little broader in the toe, but they still have a kind of a hind shaped front. A lot of that's just due to the weight. These are big horses. I have a little magnet on my hat, and that's where I hold my nails. And it's been amazing because I used to hold the nails in my mouth, which isn't really safe. And now I have them on the bill of my cap. It works great. We actually have some of these hats available on our Shopify if anyone's interested. They'll hold legs, leg bolts, screws, flashlights. We make them out of strong magnets, but they're actually kind of a cool product. And there we go. We got him all nailed up. And here you can kind of see that I fit that lateral toe pretty good. And you can kind of see I'm just a little bit bold in front of the medial toe clip. It's just not, I could have just been if I'd have just forged it a little bit better, it would have fit just that much sweeter. And it seems like a really nitpicky thing to say. It seems like not an important thing, but we're shooting for as close to perfection as we can get. And we're constantly trying to improve our work. So these are the things we look at. And according to the Chapman brothers, we're not clinching anymore, we're crimping. So got all the nails crimped, just rasping them up, getting rid of any sharp edges. And that should about do it for today. I hope you guys liked the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.
I thought he finished up nice. Look at that big boy.